Forbidden Tree. In a quiet village nestled in the heart of Southeast Asia, there stood a large, ancient tree known to the villagers as the Forbidden Tree. Legend had it that the tree was the home of the Pontianak, and it was said to be cursed. Children were warned never to play near it, but as children often do, they were drawn to the tree's expansive branches and the secrets it seemed to hold. The tree stood at the edge of the village, its roots extending like claws into the dark soil. The canopy was thick, casting an eerie shadow even in the bright daylight. The air around the tree always felt colder, and a strange hush would fall upon the village when the wind rustled its leaves. One sunny afternoon, a group of children, their laughter echoing through the village, decided to venture close to the Forbidden Tree. Among them was Arif, a curious and fearless boy, always eager for adventure. The children dared each other to touch the tree, and with a mix of excitement and trepidation, they approached it. Arif, being the bravest, was the first to place his hand on the rough bark. Instantly, he felt a chill run through his body, but he shrugged it off, laughing nervously. "Come on, it's just a tree," Arif said, trying to mask his unease. The other children followed suit, touching the tree and feeling the same inexplicable coldness. As the sun began to set, the children decided to play hide and seek around the tree. Arif, in his search for a hiding spot, ventured deeper into the surrounding forest. The further he went, the darker it became. The sounds of the village faded, replaced by an eerie silence. Suddenly, he heard a soft, mournful cry. Arif stopped in his tracks, his heart pounding. The cry grew louder, more desperate. He turned around, but all he saw were the looming shadows of the trees. "Who's there?" Arif called out, his voice trembling. There was no response, just the continuous crying. Driven by curiosity and fear, he followed the sound, his steps quickening. The cry led him to a small clearing, where the moonlight revealed the figure of a woman in white, her back turned to him. Arif approached cautiously, the hairs on his neck standing on end. He reached out to touch her shoulder, but before he could, she turned around swiftly. Her face was a horrific sight, hollow eyes, blood-stained teeth, and a look of sorrow and rage that sent Arif stumbling backward. It was the Pontianak. Arif's scream echoed through the forest as the Pontianak let out a bone-chilling wail. He turned to run, but his legs felt like lead. The Pontianak glided towards him, her eyes burning with fury. Desperately, Arif remembered the tales his grandmother used to tell him about the Pontianak. He fumbled for the nail he carried, a talisman his grandmother insisted he always have. With trembling hands, he held it out in front of him. The Pontianak stopped, her gaze fixed on the nail. For a brief moment, it seemed as though she might retreat. Seizing the moment, Arif turned and ran, not looking back. He sprinted through the forest, branches whipping against his face, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He burst out of the forest and into the village square, collapsing to his knees. The villagers, alarmed by his appearance, gathered around him. Between gasps, he recounted his terrifying encounter. The villagers listened in stunned silence. Arif's grandmother, her face pale with fear, confirmed the old tales. The Forbidden Tree was indeed cursed, and the Pontianak's presence was real. That night the villagers gathered around the tree, performing rituals to appease the spirit. They hung garlic and sharp objects around the tree, hoping to ward off the Pontianak. Arif's story became a cautionary tale told to every child in the village. The Forbidden Tree stood as a silent reminder of the supernatural dangers that lurked in their midst. The children no longer dared to play near it, and even the bravest among them would cast a wary glance at the tree's dark silhouette. The legend of the Pontianak continued to haunt the village, a spectral warning etched into the very fabric of their lives. And as for Arif, he never forgot that night. Every time he passed by the Forbidden Tree, he felt a chill run down his spine, a reminder of the terrifying encounter that changed his life forever.